Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Helen Smits. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame for this great honor. I also want to thank some other people, but let me begin by explaining a little. Over the career you've seen, I took on a number of challenges. I went to medical school a few years late and with no financial support from my family. I took my first job in government with no background in health policy or regulation. I decided to go to Mozambique, not knowing Portuguese and never having been trained in developmental policy. So I would like to thank three groups of people. First, I want to thank the people who told me I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I won't name names, but there was a woman dean at Radcliffe who told me that it was a very foolish idea for me to go to medical school. There was a man, resident at the University of Pennsylvania, who told me that women did not belong in medicine. When I first went into government, there was a fascinating array of people who came into my office and told me the story of my predecessor who had only lasted 9 months. And they clearly were counting as to whether I would go sooner than that. When we decided to go to Africa, a number of people told me that it was terribly dangerous and that I shouldn't try it. I thank them all, because in fact, opposition always makes me work a little harder, and they also pointed the way to some of the obstacles I would have to overcome. Secondly, I have to thank the people who supported me and took care of me. My wonderful husband, Roger Lecomte, my son and daughter-in-law, Theo and Jenny. I owe very special thanks to the Yale Medical School. When I first thought about going to medicine, I went over to talk to the then Dean of Students, Dr. Thomas Forbes, who was absolutely wonderful, warm and welcoming at a time when women were not that common in medicine. And my experience at Yale was like that all the way through, and I really appreciate what they did for me. I also have to thank many, many people I've worked with. I can't possibly name them all, but I have to mention one category, and that's nurses. When I graduated from medical school, I was told that nurses resented women doctors and would be nasty to me. That was absolutely untrue. They took care of me, they watched my back, they taught me medicine very tactfully. Doctor, don't you think she could use a little more insulin? They were my friends and my teachers, and I appreciate over the years everything they did for me. Finally, having lived in Africa for 3 years, I have learned I must thank my ancestors. First, my great aunt, Emma Carr, who was a distinguished chemist and a wonderful model for a young girl. I think also of my great-great-grandfather, James Carr, who was a surgeon in the Civil War. And going even further back, the Quaker Mary Dyer, who got in a lot of trouble in Massachusetts for speaking the truth, but she went on speaking it. I never could have done all this without the support and inspiration from all of the people I've mentioned and many others. I appreciate that background, and I hope I've made them proud. Thank you very much.